Welcome back, guys. Today's topic is going to be on the first ever SUV that I drove and that my wife and I purchased. So this SUV was also something really modern for us. It was a 2007. So the SUV was only 6 years old when we bought it, or 5 or 6 years old. So having an 07 was a big change for us, coming from something that was built in 2000. And that SUV was a 2007 Saturn Vue, and we bought it because, well, it was an 07, it was an SUV, it was essentially $5,000 and low mileage, so it had just shy of 100,000 K on it. And the nice part of it is it actually came with the 5-speed standard transmission, so I figured it's an SUV, it's 5-speed. The trade-off was that it was only front-wheel drive, but I figured you have more, you're higher off the ground, more ground clearance, a 5-speed transmission, had a good set of winter tires. We bought it in February, so I figured why not, it's going to be a great thing to have. And so we went ahead and we bought it. So that SUV came with the 2.2 liter Ecotec GM motor, and I believe that's the motor that a lot of people refer to as being a bulletproof motor. And it was good. We bought the car. I didn't do any maintenance on it. It needed absolutely nothing. Oil change was relatively fresh, and we drove it. So we finished the winter with it, and we didn't really have much snow that season. It was cold, but the car started every time. It ran like a champ. We had zero issues, and we enjoyed the extra space. It had some extra features that we liked, especially in the trunk. It had a trunk organizer, so it was like a pop-up baskets that would come up. So if you're getting groceries, you can put the stuff separate. You can put your eggs away from your watermelon, and so on and so forth. It also had nice space in the rear for car seats. The interior was comfortable enough. I can't really complain about space. It had the Saturn polymer panels, which made it nice for rust, since we do get a lot of snow and salt. The panels actually do quite nicely because you don't get any rust. Underneath the car, it was oil sprayed, and I did oil spray it as well, so it wasn't bad at all. The only metal parts on the car were the tailgate and the hood, and unfortunately the tailgate had a few bubbles of rust starting, despite the fact that it was sprayed and it was a relatively new car, 6 years old. It shouldn't be rusting, but anyhow. We had that car, and we enjoyed it. We drove it, and the disappointment came when the next winter rolled around and we started driving it in snow. That's where I realized that it's quite lousy in the snow, in the sense that you would think an SUV, it's got a little more weight, it's higher off the ground, standard transmission, but I was getting almost stuck with it. Anytime there was more than 5-10 centimeters of snow on the ground, you would want to go. So we ended up, at the same time as this, during the ownership with the Saturn, we actually ended up buying a Jetta, a 99 Mark IV Jetta, that was actually a lot better in snow, to a point where we drove it for the winter as our snow car. And that's when I realized having a SUV that I can't drive in the snow defeats the purpose. So that's when we sold it. We actually sold it the very next winter. We had it for exactly a year. We spent $0 on it. I didn't even bother doing an oil change on it. And the car performed nicely. It drove, got us from points A to B, didn't cost us any money, and we were able to sell it for $5,500. So $300 extra in our pocket from the sale of that car. So we quite enjoyed the reliability. Now again, it was a newer vehicle, so nothing should have gone wrong. So anyways, that's my story with my Saturn. It was my first GM product. Interior was finished nicely. The ride was so-so. The snow performance was bad. And yeah. So following that Saturn, our next topic will be on a 99 Mark IV Jetta that we had bought during the ownership of that Saturn. So tune in back for our next episode if you're curious to see my thoughts on a 94 Jetta. Anyhow, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, like, share, And see you guys tomorrow. Cheers.